Alright, today we're looking at Chapter 8, Topic 1. This is the first topic of Chapter 8, which Chapter 8 is on rational functions. Alright, we're going to start with simplifying rational expressions. So rational, if you remember, rational essentially just means a fraction. Alright, now first let's take a look at how we would simplify just a regular old rational expression with numbers. So for instance, something like 12 over 16. This can be simplified. We know how to simplify this. The way you simplify, well, we need to see if they have factors in common that we can cancel out. So 12 can factor into 3 times 4, and then 4 factors into 2 times 2. So 12 can be factored into 3 times 2 times 2. 16 can be factored into 2 times 8. 8 factors into 2 times 4. And 4 factors into 2 times 2. So 16 factors into 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So to simplify this, we just cancel out factors they have in common, so in the numerator and denominator. So for instance, 2 and 2 we have in common, 2 and 2 we have in common. So those can cancel out because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So to get our simplified expression, we just put it all back together. 3 is all we're left with in the numerator. 2 times 2, or 4, is what we're left in the denominator. So 12 over 16 simplifies to 3 over 4. Those are essentially the steps that we're going to be looking at to simplify rational expressions, the same way we would simplify just a regular fraction. So for instance, if we look at number 1, 3x minus 12 over x minus 4. We want to factor the numerator and denominator and see if they have any factors in common. So first we look at the numerator, 3x minus 12. The only way to factor that is by factoring out the GCF, which is 3. So we can factor the 3 out of that. So if we divide each of those by 3, then we get x minus 4. And in the denominator, we only have x minus 4. So the numerator has factors 3 and x minus 4. The denominator has only a single factor, x minus 4. Well, they both have an x minus 4 in common as a factor. So what we're left with is just 3 on the top, 1 on the bottom, so 3 over 1, which is just 3. So number 1 simplifies to just 3. Number 2, we have x squared plus 4x plus 3 over x squared minus 9. All right, well, this factors a little bit differently because neither of these have a GCF. X squared plus 4x plus 3 doesn't, and x squared minus 9 doesn't. So first, let's look at how do we factor x squared plus 4x plus 3. Well, remember, in order to factor something like this, we need to look for two numbers that multiply to this, so they multiply to positive 3, and they add to positive 4. Well, those two numbers would be positive 1 and positive 3. 3 times 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4. Put an x in front of those and you have your factors. So x squared plus 4x plus 3 factors into x plus 1 and x plus 3. So x plus 1 and x plus 3. Now what about x squared minus 9? How does that factor? Well, it doesn't factor in the same way. It's actually a type of special factoring. So let me move this so I can make some room. So x squared minus 9. This is a type of special factoring. Okay, this is called, and you should remember it, this is called a difference of two squares. So this is x to the second power minus 3 to the second power. And anytime you have a difference of two squares, it always factors into this plus this and this minus this. So this is x plus 3 and x minus 3. So that's the way that x squared minus 9 factors. So we say that that's x plus 3 and x minus 3. Well, they have a factor in common in the numerator and denominator. They both have x plus 3 as a factor, so that can cancel. So what we're left with is x plus 1 in the numerator, x minus 3 in the denominator, and that would be the simplified form of number 2. Number 3, we have negative 5x y squared to the 4th over 15x cubed y cubed. Okay, now this factors a little bit differently. This factors kind of like how the fraction with numbers factored. Okay, so we got to factor, we need to split the numerator and denominator up into all of their factors. So negative 5, that's negative 1 times 5. X is just x. Y squared to the 4th power. So that 4th power would mean we're looking at y squared times y squared times y squared times y squared. That's what it means to raise something to the 4th power, is to multiply it together 4 times. However, each of these y squareds can be simplified into y times y. So y squared is y times y. This one is y times y. This one is y times y. And this one is y times y. So what we see is we actually end up having 8 y's. Now 15x cubed y cubed. 15, that's 3 times 5. X cubed, that's x times x times x. Y cubed, y times y times y. And now everything is factored completely, so we can start crossing out factors that appear in the numerator and denominator. For instance, 5 cancels out. X cancels out. A y cancels out. Another y cancels out, and a third y cancels out. So our simplified form is going to be whatever we have remaining in the numerator and denominator. So in the numerator, I have a negative 1, and I have 5 y's. So that's negative y to the 5th. In the denominator, I have a 3, and I have 2 x's. So that's 3x squared. And that will be our simplified form for number 3. Number 4, I have x plus 3 over x squared minus x minus 12. Okay, well the top doesn't factor, x plus 3 doesn't factor. However, x squared minus x minus 12, that does factor, okay, because it's trinomial. So in the top we have negative 12, and in the bottom we have negative 1. Two numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to negative 1 would be negative 4 and positive 3. Put an x in front of those and we have our factors. So x minus 4 and x plus 3. X minus 4 and x plus 3. Well, as we can see that they have a factor in common, x plus 3. So all we have left in the top is the invisible factor 1, and in the bottom we have x minus 4. So this would be our simplified form for number 4. Number 5, we have x squared minus 4x minus 12 over x squared minus 4. Now the top, x squared minus 4x minus 12. So negative 12 in the top, negative 4 in the bottom. Two numbers that multiply to negative 12 and add to negative 4 are negative 6 and positive 2. So that means this factors into x minus 6 and x plus 2. Oh, whoops, put that in the wrong place. X minus 6 and x plus 2. Now the bottom here, x squared minus 4, that's a special factorization. That's a difference of two squares. Okay, that's x to the second power minus 2 to the second power. So I'd factor into x plus 2 and x minus 2. X plus 2 x minus 2. As we can see, they have a factor in common. They both have x plus 2 in common in the numerator and denominator, so those can cancel. And we're left with x minus 6 over x minus 2. And then lastly, 2x plus 8 over 3x plus 12. Now, neither of these factor in the normal way, but as you can see, 2x plus 8, they both have a factor of 2. So you can factor out a 2 and you'd be left with x plus 4. So that is how our numerator factors here. It factors into 2 and x plus 4. And same thing with the denominator, 3x plus 12. 3 and 12 both have a factor of 3, so you can factor that out. You're left with x plus 4. Now so those would be the GCF. The GCF of this is 2. The GCF here is 3. They both have an x plus 4 in common as a factor, so those factors can cancel and we'll be left with 2 over 3 as the simplified expression. All right, and here are the problems for the homework.